Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Video Game Cryptids, the series that investigates secrets, rumors, and all-around interesting things in your favorite games. Today we're going to be taking a look at an insane scavenger hunt that took an entire community to come together and solve. The more I looked into this story, the more excited I got to share it with you guys. I love secrets and mysteries, especially in video games, and this one is without question one of the best I've ever experienced. This particular cryptid was added to World of Warcraft in patch 7.3.0 during the Legion expansion. No patch notes included anything about this hunt, nor was it even mentioned by any NPC in the game. So how did players go about finding it? That is the question we're here today to answer, ladies and gentlemen, so without further ado, let's take a look at the hunt for the Lucid Nightmare. Okay, so first thing we're gonna need to do before we can even start this hunt is get a character to max level in the game, for reasons I'll explain as we go on, but for now, I have a metric assload of random farming and quests to do. Jesus Christ, you cannot say I'm not committed to these investigations. Alright, so I got my Dwarf Hunter Korg here to level 60, and it only took like 3 days of playing 12 hours each day. Though that's kind of my own fault, since for the first 2 days I didn't know that barbed shot fucking stacks, so yeah. But now we're ready to begin the investigation. First thing we gotta do is head to Dalaran, the hub city added to the game in Wrath of the Lich King. Within Dalaran, there's an unassuming little shop called Curiosities and More. On the second floor of the shop, sitting on a small table, is the catalyst for one of the greatest secrets ever in gaming. An inconspicuous note. And it's not there. Why is it not there? I swear to God, if I grinded this character up for 3 days and they took this out of the game, I'm going to shit enough bricks to build a Ford factory. Okay, after quite a while of researching, I found out that there are in fact 2 versions of Dalaran for some reason, and I'm of course not in the right one. So we have to use this Dalaran Hearthstone, which I was not aware I even had, to go to the Legion version of the city. Okay, we arrive at Legion Dalaran, and now we should be able to find the note. I hope. Yes, okay, it's there. Right, back to our regularly scheduled bullshit. Upon clicking the note, the following text comes up. It begins in the 2104059 with a most pleasing sign. Not all of these notes will rhyme. Yeah, and apparently even the ones that do don't follow a proper syllable structure, and I don't know why I'm bringing this up, but it really fucking bothers me, okay? Anyways, after a while, crafty players figured out that if you rearrange the numbers in the message, you can make the date 4/15/2009. This is the exact release date of patch 3.1.0, Secrets of Ulduar, that added the Ulduar raid into the game. Arguably the most popular raid ever made. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the next stop in our investigation. And now you understand why we needed a max level character, because I'm gonna need to solo this big bitch since none of my friends play World of Warcraft. So we make the trek up to Storm Peaks, and to the very northern end of the zone, there rests the entrance to the Ulduar raid, and fun fact, is actually the most northern point in all of Azeroth. So we head into the raid and proceed through until we reach the first boss, the Flame Leviathan. We now have to make our way past the next 2 skippable bosses in the raid and arrive at the 4th boss of the raid, the XT-002 Deconstructor. That's both the name of the boss and Elon Musk's next kid. We quickly take on the Deconstructor, and after defeating him, head over to this unassuming pile of scrap in the corner of the arena. Here, we find a lever on the head of a mechanome. Flip said lever and a 24x24 grid of lights will appear at the center of the room. Now, to solve this, we're going to need the second line of the original note from Dalaran, with a most pleasing sign. This line refers to the Titan Guardian signs that can be seen above their respective areas in the raid. More specifically, Mimiron's sign, the gear, as it's the most quote-unquote pleasing when drawn on a grid. So, we walk around the grid on the floor, flipping the corresponding lights until we draw out the gear pattern like so. Yeah, I'm sorry, this is the best shot I could get of it. Yeah. I don't know how to fucking free cam, so. Once we finish drawing out the gear, the grid will disappear and a new note will take its place at the center of the room. This note reads, 1,000 years in prison. Surely it weighed on the mind. The first line clearly refers to Cthulhu, one of the old gods in-game who was imprisoned by servants of the Titans along with his followers for 1,000 years. This makes the next stop of the investigation, Ahn'Qiraj, the Fallen Kingdom. Ahn'Qiraj acted as Cthulhu's prison, and became a raid in the game after he begins to escape. So we head up to Ahn'Qiraj, and from here we need to beat every single boss in the raid aside from the big hentai hoss himself, as the next step of the hunt is just outside his boss arena. We head up this staircase to the left of Cthulhu, and at the top, sitting on a table, is a mind larva. This is what the second line in the last note was referring to. Surely it weighed on the mind. When we interact with the mind larva, it will spawn a version of Candy Crush that, I shit you not, is canonically called Minecraft. Good old Blizzard doing what they do best, avoiding a lawsuit by the width of a gnat's ass. Anyways, when you match 5 Yogg-Sothoths in a row, the game will end and another note will spawn beside the larva. This one reads, "Deeper than deep awaits your seat." The deeper than deep part is quite obviously referring to Deep Home, an area in the game. But Deep Home is a big place, so how do we narrow down the search? Well, the clue said deeper than deep. That points us to the crumbling depths, as it's the depths of Deep Home, hence deeper than deep. Within the cave, behind a block of stone, we'll find a dark fissure. When interacted with, we will then be prompted with dialogue asking us if we want to jump into the fissure. We accept and drop in, landing in a small room with a singular chair in the middle. On the back of the chair, there's a plaque, and that plaque reads... The plaque is only barely legible, you can only make out fragments of each line. Supremacy, get, shirk, eek. Originally, because of the dots, players thought that words were simply missing and took off trying to solve the puzzle in that way. But after a while, players started noticing that the words "is the key" could be made if the puzzle was looked at as an anagram. Other players from across the world confirmed that similar phrases in different languages could be pulled from the text when their client was in said language. With this breakthrough, it was clear that players had been looking at the puzzle the wrong way. It was, in fact, an anagram. The remaining letters with "is the key" removed are UPRMACGSRKEE. Eventually, the players figured out that the letters formed the name Raxum Greep, giving us the full string, Raxum Greep is the key. Now, Raxum Greep is an NPC that Blizzard added to the game as a shadow patch in 7.0.3. He even replaced another NPC as to not tip off players too easily that something was different in said location. Players then flooded the area of the Northern Barrens where Raxum is located to try to figure out the clue. After a while, players realized that nothing about him was of particular interest, except for one thing. On his face, he's wearing an extremely low drop chance mask pattern, the Shadow Weave mask. This mask is what we needed to continue the quest. Now, the pattern for the Shadow Weave mask is a very low drop chance item from the Dark Iron Steamsmith in the Seeking Gorge, but no shot in fuck I'm doing that because I want this video to come out before I die, so. Instead, we simply buy one on the auction house, which you can do for around 1k gold. With the mask equipped, we now have to return to Deep Home and the chair with the skull on it. I guess I should mention too, just in case anyone's planning on doing this, you don't actually need to come here once and then return with a Shadow Weave mask. You could buy the mask first and do it all in one trip. I'm just really shit at preparation. When the skull is interacted with while wearing the mask, a new note will take its place. This note reads, "Where the shaded delegate may appear." This clue points us to the dungeon of Dun Morog in Nomergon. Within this dungeon, there's an NPC that sometimes spawns named the Dark Iron Ambassador, hence the shaded delegate may appear. We head into the dungeon and progress through it until we come across a console of levers with a note above it that reads, "Instructions." Click on the note and the text shown on screen will now appear. At first, it appears to be binary code. It's only ones and zeros, and they're grouped in a way that would lead you to believe that that's the case. But upon closer look, some of the groupings of the numbers aren't separated by standard byte sizes. For example, this string is 5 bytes long, which isn't a standard in binary code. This is where the puzzle goes from pretty difficult to straight up fucking nutty. Players eventually realize that there are 3 different sizes of number strings here, 5, 8, and 24. Players then realized that the groups of 5 and 8 always come in pairs. Now, stay with me here. If you add up all the ones in the groups of 5 and its corresponding group of 8, then multiply the numbers together, we end up with the numbers 12, 14, and 7. But we're not done yet, because that wasn't tricky enough. We now have to add together the ones found in the 24-byte numbers and order them all according to the instructions note. This gives us the numbers 6, 12, 14, 7, 13, 18, 12, 3, 13, 20, 25, 3, 8, 18, 7, 25, 2, and 13. Each of these numbers corresponds to a letter in the alphabet, giving us the string shown on screen. And now we've entered fuck you territories of difficulty. Players eventually figured out that if you split this string in strategic places, you come up with this. FLNG, MRLC, MTYCHRG, and YBM. Players then figured out that these strings are actually abbreviations for in-game pet abilities for the 2013, 2014, and 2015 BlizzCon Murloc pet rewards. Players received these pets in-game for attending BlizzCon in those years. And just quickly, for those who don't know about pets in World of Warcraft, it was basically their version of Pokemon. The moves represented in the string belong to one of the 3 Murlocs respectively, those moves being Flailing Murloc, Mighty Charge, and I-Beam. At max pet level in Legion 25, these attacks deal 684, 560, and 1,110 damage respectively. This gives us a new string of numbers, 684, 560, 111, 0. Now returning to the note, the line after the fake binary code simply reads 180. This is a clue to flip the current number around, giving us 01110654486. Then we take the last line of the note, which is just plus a bunch of ones, which tells us to increment each number in the list by 1. This gives us the final solution, 12221776597. Now, one might think that that's the end of this insane scavenger hunt, but my brother in Christ, we aren't even close. We now have to input the given numbers into these levers, which will cause the next note to spawn when completed. This one reads, games and toys get left behind when you awaken screaming. This clue points us to Val Shara in the Broken Isles. This area was struck by the Emerald Nightmare, a corruption caused by the old god Yogg Saron that plagued the residents of the area with terrible dreams, causing them to leave their homes behind. Within Val Shara, near the rare NPC Wraith Talon, sits a small house. Inside that house is a Nightmare Tumor, and when interacted with, the Nightmare Tumor will spawn another game as a puzzle, hence toys and games get left behind when you awaken screaming. For this puzzle, we simply have to untangle the red lines by moving their endpoints around the screen. Upon completion, another note will appear in front of the tumor. This one reads, what you seek is buried within. Now, this one's pretty vague, so it took some trial and error, but eventually players figured out that this note points us to the summit of Kun Lai from the Mists of Pandaria. Within the zone, there's an area called the Tomb of Secrets, and within the tomb, we find a single urn. When interacted with, we get the option to consume the ashes. So we eat the overcooked dead guy and get transported to a maze. Now, if you're like me and are currently thinking, oh, I like mazes, this is gonna be fun. No, it's fucking not. Okay, so let's break this down real quick. The idea of the maze is to bring these 5 colored orbs to their respective circular ruin thing. Sounds easy so far? Just look up the maze and follow along. Nope, can't do that. Fuck face, this maze is randomly generated for each person who enters. I mean, still sounds pretty easy, just map it out as you go. Well, that would work if the guy who programmed the maze did a better job, but instead, what often happens in the maze is you will transfer from one cell to another, and it will just teleport you to a completely different part of the maze. I don't know if this has to do with the server refreshing or what, but once you lose your spot once, it's impossible to find again because there is no anchor point to fall back on. There is an add-on that's supposed to map the maze for you as you go, but the shit didn't work for me, so I don't know. So, ladies and gentlemen, I shit you not when I tell you I spent 4 hours of my life running randomly between these rooms looking for oversized glowing paintballs that, by the way, you can only carry one of at a time. Guys, I've been doing this for like 4 fucking hours. Please just give me the rune. Oh my god, we finally fucking did it! Okay, so when you finally navigate this piece of shit maze, you then get transported to this beautiful palace room where you will find the next and final note of this insane scavenger hunt. Yeah, no, the maze wasn't the end, there is in fact one more. Okay, so the last note reads, the way is now open to the greatest secret never told. A fitting end to your journey. To solve this clue, we need a quick history lesson all the way back from patch 2.0, the Burning Crusade, and the addition of the Karazhan raid. Players noticed that behind the Tower of Karazhan, there was an inaccessible crypt. Well, inaccessible without glitching in, anyways. And it became a huge source of speculation and conspiracy theories in the community. It's kind of its own video game, Cryptids, so bonus points. Blizzard never addressed any of the rumors about the place, and for years it just sat there closed off to the community with no explanation as to why it was in the game. With that in mind, let's read the note again. The way is now open to the greatest secret never told. a fitting end to your journey. Players quickly realized that the last two lines together pointed to the crypt, as it was the greatest secret, meaning the one with the most community engagement, and Blizzard never addressed it, so greatest secret never told. And the line, a fitting end to your journey, refers both to the end of the hunt and the end of the journey of life, pointing to a crypt. As for the first line, the way is now open, simply tells us that the barricade blocking off the entrance to the crypt is no longer there. So we head to the crypt in question behind the Tower of Karazhan, and sure enough, the way is now open. So we head down into the depths of the crypt that, by the way, is about 10 times the size that would actually be necessary for this, but whatever. And sitting in the far corner, atop a pile of bones, is a singular purple chest that contains our prize. The famed Lucid Nightmare mount. So, ladies and gentlemen, that was the insane hunt for the Lucid Nightmare. I hope you guys enjoyed following along this crazy scavenger hunt that took a whole community to come together to solve. I know I did. This game is a goldmine for this series, honestly. The Lucid Nightmare is just one of quite a few of these crazy puzzles hidden in the game. So if you guys want me to cover those as well, just let me know in the comments and I will happily grind out another. Thanks for watching this one, and until next time, I'll be seeing you.